Hare Krishna, everyone. It's wonderful to be with you all. Today, we're going to be diving into the 5th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, looking at it through the incredible purports given to us by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
All right, so let's get right into it. Where does this chapter even begin? Well, it starts with Arjuna. He's completely confused, he's standing there on the battlefield, and Krishna has been explaining all these different concepts, knowledge, action, but for Arjuna, they just don't seem to fit together. They feel like total opposites.
You see, in Arjuna's mind, it's black and white. You either work in the world or you renounce everything and go to the forest. How can you possibly do both? He just can't wrap his head around it. For him, renunciation means you stop doing, well, everything. So he's basically pleading with Lord Krishna, please just tell me definitively which one is actually superior.
So Lord Krishna, in his perfect way, starts to unravel this. He explains that there are two kinds of action, one that ties you up in this material world and another that sets you free. And he makes it super clear. The problem isn't the action itself. It never was. It's all about the consciousness behind it.
Yeah, so this is really the heart of it, isn't it? It all comes down to why you're doing something. On one side, you've got what we call fruitive work, basically anything you do for your own sense gratification. And that work, it just binds you tighter and tighter to the cycle of birth and death. But then, on the other side, you have devotional service. That's work you do purely for the pleasure of Krishna, and that is what liberates us. The amazing thing is, the work could look exactly the same on the outside, but the intention, that changes absolutely everything.
And this verse gives us such a beautiful, perfect analogy for this. Think about a lotus leaf. It's right there in the water, sometimes even muddy water. But does the water stick? No way, it just rolls right off. The leaf stays completely pure and untouched. Well, that's exactly what it's like for a devotee. We live in this material world, we work here, but because we're surrendering the results to the Supreme Lord, we're never, ever contaminated by it. It's a powerful image for sure.
And it goes even deeper than just our physical work. We're talking about dedicating everything, our body, our mind, our intelligence, even our senses, all of it, for one single purpose, purification, Atma Shuddhaye. A person in Christian consciousness gets it. They understand that their eyes, their ears, their hands, they aren't for their own private enjoyment. They're meant for Krishna's satisfaction. And just that shift, that total reorientation, that's what purifies our entire existence and frees us from the chains of karma.
Okay, so now Lord Krishna gets right to the point Arjuna was asking about. He puts these two paths side by side, this idea of dry, artificial renunciation versus the vibrant, dynamic path of devotional service. And he's about to show us which one is superior and why. And Krishna doesn't mince words here. He says, look, just renouncing things, just trying to stop all activity without engaging in devotional service, it's not going to make you happy. It just can't. Why? Because the soul is naturally active. Trying to artificially suppress that activity just leads to a restless mind and a whole lot of misery. We need a positive engagement, a higher purpose, to find any real satisfaction.
And this is where Srila Prabhupada's purports are so incredibly helpful. He really breaks down the differences for us. Think about it. Karma yoga, devotional service, it's practical, it's safe. It gives us something real and positive to do. But this other path, what Prabhupada calls dry renunciation, the kind where you just speculate and try to negate everything, it's so difficult, so tedious, and the biggest danger? There's a huge risk of falling right back down into material life because you haven't given your mind and senses a better engagement.
You know, Srila Rupa Goswami has a perfect term for this, Falgu Vairagya, or incomplete renunciation. It's when we try to give things up thinking, oh, this is material, it's bad, but we fail to see its connection to Krishna. But true renunciation, yukta vairagya, is completely different. It means understanding that everything belongs to Krishna. So it's not about what you give up. The real question is, how are you using everything in his service?
And at the end of the day, someone who really sees things as they are understands that both these paths, when they're perfected, actually lead to the same goal, self-realization. Why? Because you can't really be detached from matter unless you have a higher attachment, an attachment to Krishna. They're like two sides of the same coin. And when you see that, you truly get what the spiritual process is all about.
So, building on this foundation, Lord Krishna now gives us a glimpse into the mind of a self-realized soul. He describes what their consciousness is like and how they see the world with a truly equal vision.
This quality is called samadarshana, and it's absolutely fundamental. A person with this vision doesn't get caught up in all the temporary external stuff. They're not looking at the body. They're looking past that material covering and seeing what's really there. The spiritual spark, the Atma, and even the Supersoul, Parma-Atma, who is right there in the heart of every single living being.
And the examples the Gita gives are pretty powerful, right? A learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and even a dog-eater. I mean, from a social standpoint or species standpoint, these beings couldn't be more different. But the wise person, the Pandita, sees them all with equal vision. Not that they're all the same on the outside, but that they all have that same spiritual nature within.
So imagine this. Because their happiness doesn't come from what's happening outside, they have this incredible, steady consciousness. They don't get overjoyed when something good happens, and they don't get miserable when something bad happens. They're just steady. This state is called sthita buddhi, and it's a direct result of being firmly fixed in the knowledge of who we are and what our relationship is with Krishna. What's their secret? They're experiencing a higher taste. They're tapping into a source of happiness that is internal, unlimited, and always fresh. And once you taste that, once you experience that spiritual pleasure, all the temporary, fleeting pleasures of this material world, they just seem so bland, so unappealing. They lose all their attraction.
And this is such a critical point. The wise person understands a simple truth. Any pleasure that has a beginning and an end is actually just a source of misery. It's a setup for suffering. It's temporary. So an intelligent person, a Buddha, sees this trap and just doesn't get involved. They don't chase after that kind of temporary happiness.
And this brings us to the grand finale of the chapter. This is where Lord Krishna gives the ultimate peace formula. The one formula that solves Arjuna's confusion and really the anxiety that every single one of us feels in this material world. I mean, think about it. Everybody wants peace, right? Individuals, families, whole nations. Everyone is desperately searching for it. But all our plans and attempts fail. Why? Because, as Krishna explains, they're all based on a wrong idea. The idea that we are the ones in charge, that we are the enjoyers. So here's the formula. It's a three-part understanding that completely flips our material conception on its head. Part 1. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, the Bhoktaram. Everything is meant for his pleasure. Part 2. He is the supreme lord of everything, Sarva Lokam Maheshwaram. Nothing is actually ours. And Part 3. He is the truest friend and well-wisher of every living being, Suhridam Sarvabhutanam.
And this final verse puts it all together beautifully. It's the ultimate answer to Arjuna's question, and it's the perfect thing for us to meditate on. When a person is in full consciousness of Krishna, knowing these three truths, that he is the supreme enjoyer, the supreme owner, and the supreme friend, that person attains peace from all material miseries. This, right here, is the perfection of karma yoga. It's the key to a life of real purpose and a life free from anxiety. All right, Krishna.